Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview, this time covering VCT Americas Stage 1 for Week 4. My guest at this time is tuyz of Loud coming off their match against Sentinels where they came out on the losing end, but thus nevertheless continuing their run in said regular season. So tuyz, thank you so much for the opportunity for this interview. Of course, like I said before, commiserations on the loss. Tough way to go down to Sentinels in that fashion, especially 13-5 on Haven. Still, I gotta ask you, what's going through your mind? How are you feeling after the match?
I'm feeling sad, of course, but I'm kind of happy because I'm playing in a flex role for 1 week. So I tried my best, and I think we were doing a good job. Maybe in Haven it was kind of unbalanced the score, but the first and the second map was super close, and we had the control in both maps. So I think was nice.
No, yeah, for sure. At the very least, this team has been showing us traces of improvement in these past 2 weeks with the changes that you guys have been doing in this stage, and so still going to focus on to the match itself. I mean, this match had the potential to maybe be won by your team, especially after winning on Lotus. And so, from that point to Haven, I gotta ask you, just sort of like, what you think was the biggest challenge that your team had at the very end of the series?
Um, I think I think the start on Haven would be super nice if you didn't lose the eco. I think the eco cost a lot because anyways they took some ultimate, so it was kind of hard this part, and they made good plan against us, and they were making a streak of rounds, and was kind of hard to bounce back. And was I think that was the big mistake was the eco.
And then that kind of then led to a snowball. Basically,
Yeah,
you guys weren't able to just recover from that point on.
yeah, exactly.
No, for sure. And obviously, like we saw another version of this loud squad this week compared to last week in the form of you returning to the lineup. And you kind of already mentioned a little bit right then and there earlier on in a conversation about you being put onto the flex role. I mean, I want to ask you sort of like, how have you viewed the preparation from like last week, in which you were on the bench against your opponent at that time, to now, in which now you're put in a different role, just having to work with a new version of the squad.
Yeah. Last week I was just like I was watching the guys. I was trying to help in some points, but I was kind of off. Now I'm trying to improve. It's kind of hard because, like I said, is a new role. So I'm improving, watching some VODs, trying to improve my flex, and that's it. But I think I think we are happy. We are playing good. We played super good in the practice. It was kind of sad, but it was a close game. So I'm happy.
Yeah, given what you said about the just now about like the state of mind that you are in, I want to ask you sort of, what do you feel was the biggest takeaway, like biggest positive takeaway that you feel you guys can kind of look at and say, okay, let's just keep on focused on this and then we'll get stronger.
Mm, I think our game plan was super nice. We had Pankada in a IGL role. Is the first time he's making that role. So I don't know. We have a lot of things that is new. Like me playing flags, he making IGL. So I think we just have to keep playing, and it's gonna improve. I think we are in a process.
Yeah, given what you said about that, Pankada and IGO, how have you viewed his calling? How can you describe, that kind of aspect to the game? What was that like?
He was it was a super surprise because we test once in practice. I don't know. I think 1 month ago, and we uh, most of the guys didn't expect that he was super good calling because he is a voice that everyone hear, listen, and pay attention.
Hmm.
because he's a guy that doesn't talk too much. So when he's calling, everyone, okay, let's do it, and it's been a nice experience.
Hmm. I mean, although this is like literally the first match in which you guys had Pankada as the IGL, what do you feel has been the biggest difference between him and Vinny?
Mm, Let me think. Actually, I don't know very well. They are kind of similar because Vinny is helping Pankada to improve as an IGL. So they're calling kind of similar. It's just the person who's changing. But I think Pankada sometimes how can I say this? He's trying to stick in the plan, trying to,
Hmm.
how can I say? Como que é, tipo, espremer?
Like squeeze.
Yeah, squeeze the maximum he can in the plan, and that's it. That's the only point I can see.
Okay, no, for sure. I mean, definitely understandable since this is his first time competing as the IGO of the team, and like given that, as I mentioned, that we've seen plenty of versions of this Loud team, kind of like figure things out on a week by week basis. Do you feel like with this version of the squad, you being Flex, Luke Shaw into the team, Pankada being the IGO, do you feel like this is like like the team to use going forward?
Um, I see a good future in that roster, but I don't know what's gonna happen, to be honest. But I'm confident with that team, and that's it.
No, for sure. You kind of mentioned a little bit about you being the flex role, and I mean, in a sense, like this is a role that you've basically been doing in these past, like this past year, not even focusing or including what happened in 2024 in VCT Americas that year. I mean, just having to play different agents at a time in different like versions of the squad. I mean, for yourself to like just try to contribute in the best way you can. How have you viewed just sort of your experience just having to like just play whatever the team needs you to play, on a given week? Do you feel like that's been difficult for you, or do you feel like you kind of gotten used to it, or what else?
For sure, for me, it's hard because when you're changing every time, you don't have constancy. So it takes time to you improve in your role. For me, especially, I don't know. For me, I have to spend some time with the agent to improve. And but for me, I'm happy now in Flex because I think my profile is to more support. Uh, for example, like when I was controller, I feel super comfortable because I was supporting people. So for me, it's nice as a flex. I'm happy in that role. I just have to play more and more, and that's it.
Mhm. I mean, I want to ask you, just sort of like still sticking on to that aspect. You mostly played Sentinel earlier on in this year. How do you kind of like compare that kind of time for you and now?
I think Sentinel is a role that you have to be egoist. Anyways, I don't know, not in a bad way, but it's more profile. I think Sentinel, and sometimes I was kind of not lost, but sometimes I was kind of pussy in playing, and sometimes I lost the timing to play. And I think support, you're paying attention in your teams, you're like supporting with flash. Do you want flash guys? Do you want stun? So for me, it's something that I like because I'm more activate in the game, talking more. So for me, it's nice that role.
Mhm. Um, this regular season now only has one more match to play for your team. And then after that we move on over to split two. Give should you guys not make playoffs. I want to ask you sort of like given the experience that this team has been able to have in stage one and having to learn off of like the losses, having to learn from like the different roles that each player has to kind of go through. Um, what's the confidence level like given that you guys can kind of use this and maybe compete in stage two and just be at a much more stronger level? How does this help the team's confidence stage one up until the future?
Mm, I think it's kind of hard because we change a lot. So we have to improve our base, our game, because when you're changing a lot, we're losing our base, our, you know, our plans in game. So I think we need time to play again because it's like a reset when you're changing. So this is hard, and I think what we are doing now, it's for me it's super nice. We are evolving in a lot of parts, and for me it's
No, yeah, for sure. And with that said, hopefully you guys are able to continue this improvement. Sure, it might not have worked so far in stage one, but obviously we have more games to play in stage two, and hopefully you guys can have a much better showing on that. And of course, finish off with victories, which because that's what matters most. And so, Tweez, thank you so much for the opportunity for this interview. Thank you. Really appreciate you answering all of the questions for this conversation. I give my thanks to the translator for chipping in on that one word. There you go. And thank you very much, Tweez, once again, and best of luck for the future.
thank you so much. Have a good one.